Hello everyone, I'm Sabina and welcome to my channel. This is my first speaking video. Finally, after more than a year, I decided to make something more informative. I've been thinking for so long, what should be my first video? Should I make it something about me? Should I make a tag? Should I make a Q&A? And finally, I decided to introduce you the main theme of my channel and just a little story of how I came up with the idea so that we get to know each other better. At the same time, I decided to make it a little bit more educational, so we're gonna have a test here, but don't worry, not a school test, something interesting and something about personal development. So if you're ready, let's get started. It was somewhere 2 or 3 years ago that I started thinking about my life and what I'm doing, where I'm going, and whether anything I do makes sense or not. I think everyone has been in this position, especially after you graduate. You start thinking, why did I get this degree? What should I do with it? Am I somewhere I really enjoy? And all these questions in my head started to give me anxiety, and I started thinking that I'm wasting my time, that I'm not doing the things I love, and that I'm living a very meaningless life. And this is when I started reading. I started reading on psychology, I started reading different articles. I was in different groups with people, reading their comments and reading about their concerns and trying to relate to them. And it was exactly then when I first met the idea of Ikigai. Ikigai is a Japanese word. This is a Japanese philosophy. It comes from 2 words, Iki, which means benefit, and Gai, which means life. So essentially, Ikigai is all about the beneficial life. I was so amazed when I just found it because it was exactly what I was trying to explain when I would say people that I feel I'm living a meaningless life. I would just share my concern and people would go, oh come on, you just graduated, you're gonna get a job and everything will be fine. But it wasn't only about getting a job. I was feeling that something is missing, that I really want to do something, get benefit of it, and at the same time enjoy it. And I was feeling that some bit of it is lacking. And when I started reading deeper and deeper about Ikigai, I realized this is just the ideal notion. I read several books about Ikigai now, and I can say that not all of them were as informative as the others. I would definitely recommend for anyone who just starts learning about Ikigai to read this book. This is recommended for beginners because it wasn't quite deep, but at the same time it was informative enough. I also enjoyed the pictures. It was aesthetically very pleasing to read it and to hold it. So if you just want to get the idea of what Ikigai is and what are the components and just not to, overload your mind, this is perfect. But if you're looking for something in-depth and you want to get some insights after reading about Ikigai, please do get this book. I promise you won't regret it. So what essentially is Ikigai and why should everyone look for it? Ikigai is, very shortly and simply saying, is your purpose in life. I googled term Ikigai and I found several explanations like a reason to wake up in the morning, but I would say this is rather very simplistic because Ikigai is not only about the reason to wake up in the morning, it's a life mantra. Ikigai is the intersect of 4 components. Something that you really love to do, something that you're really good at, something that you are getting paid for, and something that the world really needs. If there is anything that intersects in all these 4 categories, most probably this is your Ikigai and you are the luckiest person. What's important about Ikigai is that all the components must be present because they complement each other for the perfection of Ikigai. If one of the components is lacking, you're not gonna feel happy, you're not gonna feel like you're doing something meaningful in your life. And if you think about it deeper, you're gonna see that everything makes so much sense in these 4 components. Something that you really love to do. You shouldn't be hating your job. You shouldn't be going to the office with a moody face on. Something that you're really good at. If there is something you're not good at, it actually doesn't make any sense continue doing it because the whole point is to develop day by day. And if you don't develop and you're just in your comfort zone, it's not gonna make you happy, and after some time you'll feel burnt out. Something the world needs, because it's not only about taking, it's also a lot about giving, because sometimes if we only take and we never share, this also can burn us out. And finally, something that you are getting paid for. This is very important. We cannot deny that human beings in 21st century depend on the money. We need the money for the happiness, and no matter how much you love your job, if it's not giving you enough money just to cover your basic daily expenses, most probably it won't take you long, because everyone has needs and that's quite natural. So when I just read about this notion, I was like, do I have an Ikigai? Is it easy to find? So I started reading a lot about people who share their experiences. I started watching videos and I realized that it's actually so hard. When you just hear the 4 components, you think that you're gonna straight give the answers, but it doesn't work so. I was even reading how Japanese people themselves, you know, the ones that live a long life, like 90 plus years, even they cannot find it easily. So it's really challenging. In fact, it's more challenging than you think it is. So I started basically Googling something like test, how to find your Ikigai, Ikigai handout, and so on. You can do the same thing. Or if you're lazy and you don't feel like Googling anything, here I am, I have the test for you. I have 2 tests for you actually. One of the tests is actually very short and it's gonna take you only like 10 or 15 minutes maximum, everything included, and you only need a piece of paper and a pen. Let's get started.
All you got to do is to draw 4 circles that are intersecting with one another. They shouldn't be perfect, just any circle you can make is fine. Then title them. First one is Love to Do. The second circle is Good at. The third circle is Paid for. And the last 4th circle is World Needs It. After you title them, this is what your paper should look like, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then start filling in. For example, what I love to do is teaching and vlogging. This is just an example. What I'm good at is teaching and, let's say, cooking. You can put anything that fits you. What you are paid for is teaching and, let's say, vlogging, because YouTube can also pay you the money, right? And finally, something that the world needs and beneficial for others is teaching. So I can see that teaching appears in all 4 segments. It means it's the intersect of all 4 categories, and I put that in the center as my Ikigai. Teaching here is the Ikigai. Also, what I love to do and what I'm good at is actually my life passion. So I put that in the center. What I'm good at and what I'm paid for is logically my profession, the job that you are doing right now, the thing that you're getting paid for and the world really needs it. This is your life vocation, why you came to this world. And finally, what the world needs and what you really love to do is your life mission. So mission, vocation, profession, and passion make up your Ikigai.
Like I said, this test is a rapid one. It's not in-depth and it does not involve as much thinking as the next one. The second test is a bit more explicit, so it's advised to print it out and to fill in. This second test is not mine. I also downloaded it from this website here and I'm giving the credits. So please feel free to find it in the box below, to download it, to print it out, and to fill in. I also advise to take the second test if you cannot really answer straight away to the question what you love to do or what you're good at. If you feel it's quite challenging, it's advised to take the test number 2 because it has some questions that will be leading you to the correct answer. There are several things that I want you to know about finding your Ikigai and Ikigai itself overall. First of all, it will not be easy. If there is nothing that intersects all 4 sections, you are still lucky because it means your adventure is still ahead and you have something to look for, you have something to strive for. What you can do at this point, if nothing is intersecting in all 4 segments, thing number 1 is to come up with something absolutely new that will cover all these 4 sections. Or thing number 2, to take any other thing that intersects at least 2 of them or 3 other sections. Let's say you have teaching that intersects everything except for I'm good at section, yeah? So what could be advised is to work on this specific skill, and this is when we come up with fact number 2 about finding Ikigai. Ikigai will show you what you lack. This was exactly then when I realized what exactly was the component that I was lacking, but I just realized that yes, I was right. There were things that I loved to do, but I was not feeling fully happy. The next fact is that Ikigai will make you feel more fulfilled. Everything you do daily will make more sense to you. Your life will be more reasonable, meaningful. As a result, in a longer perspective, you will regret less things. I wouldn't say you won't regret anything because that's just impossible, that's human life, but you will definitely regret less things. I remember at some point in my life I was going mental and I was thinking, oh my gosh, imagine that's the last minute of my life. Will I think I'm happy, and will there be many things that I would regret? And my answer was yes. You know, when I think life is really short and I don't feel like going to the job I hate, I don't feel like being in my comfort zone, not improving, and I also feel like I'm taking so much from this world, from this community, from this society, from my family. I also know that it would fulfill me so much if I could do something in response. And just realizing this was enough to start acting and to start taking the test to see what intersects, what does not, what I lack in my life. I really advise to take this test, especially if you just graduated, because this is especially the period when you don't really feel like doing anything, you don't feel like you belong anywhere, you don't feel like your degree is something you really enjoy to do, you think you're not going to get employed, and you don't really know where to start. And if you take a test and you find a lack, you know, the gap in your life meaning, let's say, you would at least have the direction to work on, and this would just release so much stress, because I know when you graduate you're in the middle of nowhere and you don't know what to do. I must also mention that it's possible that you will have 2 or even more Ikigais. This is actually very good because, in fact, yes, that's true. That's absolutely possible that someone has 2, 3 or even more Ikigais, but of course all of them take dedication, time, resources, and what's important here is not to take up too much on yourself, because you don't want to do a lot of work, you want to do a quality work. It's okay to have one Ikigai, but just to dedicate yourself fully and do the quality job. Of course, if you have enough power, enough time and enough resources, you can give yourself fully to 2 or 3 things. Lucky you, but I would say that's quite rare, because something that's truly your Ikigai is really hard to hold, and managing 2 or 3 things like this is something like a superpower. And another critical point here, if you end up taking the test and having 2, 3 or even too many Ikigais you think, I would suggest to retake the test later on and to take more time to think about it. And here comes the next fact about Ikigai. Finding your Ikigai, taking the test about Ikigai is a lot of self-analysis, is a lot of self-reflection, and it takes time. It won't come easy. So please take your time, make sure you think over every question in depth and you do not give surface answers. Having too many Ikigais, of course, can be a good sign that you're a super person, but at the same time it can also give you the idea of the fact that you've given too many surface answers. You don't think good enough, and you think everything you do falls into all the 4 sections. But in fact, if you think a little bit better and if you listen to your heart and you question yourself, do I really enjoy being a manager, let's say? You will realize that deep inside you just do this because you love the money you're getting, or I don't know, maybe you're just good at it, but you don't really love it. And if it was for you, you would actually switch to painting, let's say. But you just don't do it because you don't get paid enough. And this is when you realize that you've been lying to yourself. And this is another fact about Ikigai. Taking tests about Ikigai and questioning yourself and asking yourself so many reflecting questions will reveal the fact that you are most of the time lying to yourself and not listening to your heart. No matter how old you are, it's never late. Even if you're 80, even if you're 100, even if you're just 20, doesn't matter. Don't think about the time that you already wasted without these concepts. Just think about the fact that you have left to live with these concepts. Like I said, it's not about quantity, it's all about quality. Many people keep asking me if I myself found Ikigai because I'm such a fan of this notion. I sometimes say yes, and sometimes I say no, and that's also possible. That's something you think is your Ikigai, but after some time your attitude changes, you stop loving it, then you can just give it a go and you can try something else. So Ikigais are not fixed, and this is why I advise to come back to this video over again in a few years or in a few months, or if not to the video, at least to the test that I attached below, and to pass it again. It's really good to update your information on Ikigai and to see, and that will also make obvious how your priorities change. I've been really a fan of this notion for a few years now. I even made a tattoo on my body saying find your Ikigai, and when I started this channel I didn't have this idea, I didn't have this banner, but I was already on the way to my Ikigai, and after some time I decided to dedicate my channel to it, and this is when I got this banner and this motto, find your Ikigai. I don't mean every video on this channel would be only about Ikigai, but anything I do would be for me to move towards my Ikigai and for you to find your Ikigai, or at least to be inspired to find your Ikigai. I may be cooking on this channel, I may be vlogging, I may be just talking about my summer favorites or anything, but even those are done for me to get closer to my Ikigai. And there is a simple reason: I love making YouTube videos, and I feel there is a big potential for YouTubing to become my Ikigai. If after some time my videos really bring benefit to the world and I get paid for it and I get really good at vlogging, this will turn into my Ikigai. So anything I do on this channel, even these things, they're all dedicated for me to move towards my Ikigai. I don't want to be, I don't want to be turning back in 5 years and think, why did I waste my time? Why didn't I start a channel? I always wanted to. Why didn't I just go for it? I would think, oh, if I started 5 years ago, I probably had 1 million viewers right now. I don't want to be that type of a person. I really want to do something meaningful, to enjoy it and be beneficial. I really encourage you guys to take this test, a shorter one, a longer one, doesn't matter. Let me know down in the comments if you have an answer. If you don't have one, great, adventures ahead. Also let me know if there is something that intersects 3 of the sections and you only have to work on something 1. So there's really little job left. Also let me know if there is something else you know about Ikigai, because this was my first video and I would enjoy any feedback that you guys give. I'm open to any constructive criticism. Please let me know down in the comments if you think I did a great job, and if not, please also let me know. Please let me know if you love the setup, if you love the way I explain things, if you love the topic, the theme, if you want me to continue. Just let me know anything, please guys. I really look forward to any feedback. Please love your life, make sure to enjoy it and make sure to live it meaningfully. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you didn't, please give me a thumbs down. That's totally fine. Share this with your friends, especially with those that you know they feel they're in the middle of nowhere. I really hope that this test will be helpful for them. And make sure to turn the notification on, because I'm gonna be making another video very soon. Thank you for being here and taking your time to watch my first video. Please enjoy your day and see you soon. Bye!